The city of angels is black and gold. You are listening to the Heart of LAFC podcast. And now, Joseph Zacher.
Greetings, Los Angeles. Welcome to episode 377 of the Heart of LAFC podcast. That's right, we're going to call this one Revoir as we close out another season a little earlier than expected, of course. And we'll talk about why. And then obviously the French kind of tells you why in a way. But yeah, but we've got the full crew on tonight. We'll talk about some stuff after the fact as well. There's a lot of roster things going on, movement, expansion draft, all that fun stuff. So yeah, we're going to look ahead to 2025 as well. Of course, we've got Bam, we've got Araceli, we've got Tony, well rested with a proper voice. Can you believe it? I know. I don't like it either, everybody, but here we are. Tony, how are you doing, sir?
I don't know. It's just a lot of frustration, a lot of self-depth in look of just us as a culture, us as a team after that loss. And it was a lot of questions and not that many answers.
Yeah, I thought I would have moved on from the anger to grief at this point, but nah. Anger's still there. We'll get into that, of course. Bam is here too. Bam, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm glad we had last week off so we could decompress a little bit, not say anything too off the cuff, and just be able to relax and get into this episode. This is going to be a interesting episode, to say the least.
I'm with you on that, definitely. And Araceli, I know it's been busy, crazy, but I think you've had a chance to finally breathe. How are you doing?
Actually doing really well. Yes, this week has been a little odd in the sense of that I have had a chance to decompress, which is weird considering MLS Cup is Saturday. But I mean, obviously wish we would have been talking about something much different. But otherwise, honestly, I've been sleeping a lot, which I've been enjoying.
Much needed and well earned. That is for sure. Of course, we're going to keep you up late again tonight because it's what we do. Again, the crew's been assembled for most of the season, all of the season, many seasons. And yeah, one more for you guys. It's always going to be worth it. That's for sure. We will be going into reactions a little bit later. So definitely jump in, guys, and say your piece. We want to hear it from you. If it's raw, let it be raw, right? This is the place to do it. So do not hesitate. That is for sure. Of course, we do have to talk about the match. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We're going to go right into it and not avoid it. And then we can move on to the happier business of talking about next year because, man, I already can't wait to get to next year, to be honest with you guys. So let's have at it. The post-mortem, of course. So LAFC, of course, had to play the Seattle Sounders. All advantage our side, hosting everything if we get the job done. But, of course, that means you have to get the job done. Things, of course, didn't go our way. Ended up losing the thing 2-1 in overtime, extra time, whatever you want to call it. It was an abysmal end. But, yeah, that is what happened. 2-1 in extra time. Did we have the chance to win it? Yes. Did we do enough to win it? Should have, but it didn't happen that way. So, of all the drama, all the loviness, all the Hollingshead step up like he always does, he got wasted at the end of the day. So I will throw it over to, actually, before I throw it to Tony, let me talk about the lineup, of course, what we do. Of course, this game, we went back to the 3-4-3 again. Up top, Giroud, as always, with Abogus and Bawanga, something we're all too familiar with. O'Brien and Atuesta this time were the central midfielders, which I could probably count on one hand, maybe not even that, how many games they've started together in central midfield. But here we go. We had them for this game, a playoff game, the biggest game of the year. Yeah, together. Palencia and Hollingshead, of course, were the wing backs. In back, it was Long, Chanot, and Murillo. So there it is. Of course, in goal was Lloris. No shock there. And I'll just jump onto that right now with the lineup. Like I said, the midfield situation with O'Brien and Atuesta, I'm not even familiar with that. Did we see that at all this year? Like, really? Bam, do you remember any matches where those were that was the starting two?
No, not off the top of my head, I can't.
It's crazy, right? Once again, a big game and some weird lineup change happens. Tony, I'm gonna go to you now that we've talked about this lineup and saw that one weird thing. The other ones were kind of expected, and we know we're not happy about the other one up top. But your thoughts on the lineup, sir?
It's just, I don't know. It's trying to experiment this late in. It's telling, mind you. It's like everyone had rest for 2 weeks, so it's like, why throw something different? Yes, throw something different, but I don't know. It just doesn't mesh well. Like you have two very aggressive midfielders, but I don't know if does it work, because it's like if you have one aggressive, and like we've even done very two defensive midfielders, and that works for us because like just to stay back when our two wing backs move forward. But it doesn't make sense to me. I get it, change it up, especially with the injuries that Seattle had, but I don't know.
Yeah, a little interesting, that's for sure. Of course, Maria back in the lineup. I think we kind of expected that one because experience wins the day. Now, what did Seattle go with? Again, we talked about what they could have gone with, but because of injuries, it got a little funky for them too. Fry, of course, was in goal. They had Reagan, Gomez, and Bell up, Bull in the back. Vargas and Roldan were the defensive midfielders to start this thing off. The other Roldan was a wing back, and Baker Whiting was on the other side. Yeah. Rusnak, De La Vega, Morris were your starters up top. So not quite what we were expecting from them, a 3-4-1-2, but that's what they went with for this thing. Again, countering what we do is definitely what they were looking at, and look a little different, kind of, sort of, a little more movement on that setup, but that's what they went with. Now, how did the game go? I'm going to throw it to you, Tony, because I won't say this thing knocked the doors off.
It was a struggle. It was a struggle the first half. Let's just be real. Like there wasn't any creative play. It was very we I don't know, fell asleep the first half is the best way to say it. There was no energy, no luster. It's a conference final against a rival and you can't even show up. That's how it felt. That was like pretty much the first half, and up until the second half, that's when things started to go our way. Like, mind you, a good cross and a finish by, Mr. Playoff himself for us, Hollingshead, because when we need a goal, he seems to show up. Drew wasn't anywhere at all. Yes, there was one opportunity where the goal was taken back, but he was, again, offside. I don't know where his flow is. I don't know if he's demanding or anything, but it's just not working there. And that was 50th minute, 59th minute, an own goal by Chanot. Mind you, I don't blame Chanot for it. Like, it was just he tried to clear it. He miskicked it, goes in. Mind you, yes, it's an own goal. We're back 1-1, but after that, there was no, you saw more energy from Seattle than you did us of like, all right, let's get back into this. We've been in this situation before. Let's fight and everything. And it just, there was no fight. Like, there was some pizzazz, of course, with Long with the almost bicycle kick in the half, but going in, it was just very going in timid the whole way, because we couldn't get to, like, once we got to the third half, the third part of the field, we went back to Bradley ball. Bradley ball, where it's just like, find the perfect pass, find the perfect setup, find the perfect everything, and not finish it. And then that kind of bite us in the ass, because we end up full time going to extra time. All right, let's see what we can do. Make some substitutions. Kai Kamara finally comes in at the 106th minute, which, why not put him in earlier to get it done in regulation? And John Morris messes us up. Again, one of the players who I said we should watch out for, because he will punish you no matter the age. He has us, and after that, it was just, our season has been written. Close the chapter on the season, and let's go on to next.
Well, I do think it's telling that the guys that really let us down in this match, that didn't quite do what they were supposed to do, were the guys that were getting the favored minutes in the lead up to this thing, where we weren't quite figuring why they were getting the favored minutes. But hey, there they were, and now it was a stress moment. Now it's time to get the job done, and they failed. at the end of the day. They failed. And we kind of expected it in a way that those ones wouldn't follow through because they haven't followed through throughout the year, but the others couldn't step up to make up for it. That's for sure. I don't know how many times I saw in this game where we had a pass that could easily go to the center forward. They saw the center forward open and went, nah, I'm still going to kick it to the wing. There's something to that, honestly. And it's not that they don't see them. They do. They do. You saw the looks. They were there, and they just chose to do the other. And in looking for the perfect pass, I think they feel they have to because said target won't move more than 4 feet to get there. So you have to give the perfect pass. At least that's what I was seeing in this. It's just there was no mobility. So you're moving, and you're just waiting for the other object to get into position when everything's already over. So, yeah, it was rough. It was very rough to see because we saw it already all year. We saw it. Another half with no shots. You got to make a statement in these games. You got to do it early, and it just wasn't there. It just fell into that. And now we can yell about the referee and all the crazy calls he made. Well, guess what? How do you end that? Run and gun. Get it moving. Force them to make harder decisions. Make uncomfortable decisions. Do things. Get stuck in. It's Seattle. If you don't, you lose. That's how it works with these guys. So that just drove me up a wall. I'm with you guys. I'm seeing the same thing over and over again, and I don't know how everyone in the stadium sees it except for the guy that gets paid to do the job. But here we go again. Bam. I know you got something to say here. What do you think, man?
Honestly, it was a horrendous way to finish the season. They're just going to jump forward a little bit, and I want to ask you guys all a question. Why did we sign Vela?
T-shirts, jerseys,
Scarves.
yeah.
The new scarf, but it was marketing. It was like probably trying to send him in on his final swan song. If we would have made it to the finals, or the whole, trying to sign a player that maybe finally announced over the winter. That was the other one, but I don't know, because it's, as you saw in the roster update, we did not pick up his contract, and now we're maybe negotiating with him. So I don't know.
Yeah, like looking at it, he played once since he resigned.
27 minutes, something like that.
Yep.
He was subbed in. Where you got players like Ilya, who near the end of the season didn't seem like he was getting much time. Ordaz, players like Ordaz, who's got a bright future ahead of him. He was in the squad 45 times. He made 22 appearances.
Yeah.
And
how many after Giroud came?
And then if you want to look down further, you got Lewis Mueller, who was in the squad 12 times, got used 6. I would have rather us use Mueller more, use Tommy Musto more. He was on the bench 21 times. He got used once.
Rosales and Dueñas, who came to 12 years old in this organization.
Yeah, well, let's have a look at Dueñas. Look at Dueñas. Dueñas was in the squad. All right, Ordaz, first one on the club. Was in the squad 45 times. Used 22 times for a total of 470 minutes.
Okay.
Dueñas, 42 times he was in the squad. Used 20 times.
The pipeline stopped. So what I noticed, maybe I'm crazy, I don't know. I look at other teams like Seattle have like a Rothrock out there, right? Some of their trusting to gain experience on the field. Do something, right? Something to prove. Something that this organization used to do, where you brought guys out to prove themselves, where you make stars. You cannot make stars if you're bringing old farts in, right? You cut the pipeline off. So that challenger club that we were all sold on has now moved into, let's chase the old stars. Let's bring those guys in and sell some shirts. everything since what, right before Leagues Cup when we tanked against Columbus has been about what? Chasing stars. It hasn't been giving the young guys a chance to prove themselves. It's been stick with these guys, they'll find the way because they've done it before. So the pipeline ended, I think. After Leagues Cup, what young guy was getting a shot at anything? I've seen guys on loan getting minutes on loan, but not the guys that we actually produced. We're supposed to be developing. Who's going to battle for you? A guy on loan or those guys? A thought, definitely. And I know, Araceli, on your end, you've seen these kids. You've seen them develop. You've seen LAFC 2. Why do we even have an LAFC 2, right? There's a cutoff at this point, right? There seems to be like this ain't the way to go at this point where they're even though they're playing for LAFC 2, are they really going to get a shot?
I think that's a little bit of a tricky situation, to be honest, because this isn't uncommon, especially with a lot of clubs where we've seen a lot of players come up through the academy level, the secondary level, and then the first team just to be sold off, per se, for lack of better terms. But in LAFC's case, I would have loved to have seen Mueller and Musto get another shot, have another season with them at least, have some more time to it not develop more, but hopefully have a better shot at seeing more playing time. But just like how we kind of predicted with Giroud coming in, that really drove a dagger into it. And the only real caveat to it was we saw them flourish with LAFC 2. Like, we saw how far LAFC 2 got into the playoffs, which is great. But at the same time, we needed to translate to the first team. And I don't know if it's fair to say that player development or that tunnel has necessarily stopped, because I'm still seeing LAFC 2 bring up players from the academy level. Of course, I don't have any like breaking news or anything, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see any signings coming in the next couple of months here with academy boys getting that shot at the LAC 2 level and then hopefully the first team. But it's tough to say, honestly.
Yeah, we will see. And then also the young guys that we do have at the top side that weren't developed by us, but we bought them young to sell high later, their minutes diminished towards the tail end here, where they were something promising and then nothing. You look at Bogus, he even had to sit at times, right? Oliveira had his minutes limited after that time period. Martinez, right? Fighting for minutes. It all kind of changed after the period. Yes.
Bogus really, he was the third most time on our team on the pitch.
Should be. Right.
So top five. Lloris, obviously, with 4,200 minutes. Second place, Bouanga, with 4,192 minutes. Then there's a drop down to Bogus, who's third, at 3,851 minutes. And then, who do you think was our fourth most timed on the pitch?
It's going to be one of the center backs, I'm sure.
Nope.
No. Who had the next?
Palencia.
Okay.
3,688 minutes. He had more time than Long, who was our fifth most.
Interesting. I mean, Palencia is doing his job, and there's nobody really can do his outside of Hollingshead where you're using him as well. So there's no one behind him in the depth chart, really. That's just how it's built at this point. For better or worse. That's what we're seeing. I'm really interested to see that minutes fell as of August. Right? That would be a little tempting to find out. Hard one to find, of course. But it got kind of predictable there. That's for sure. Just like the attack got predictable and we had a, what we had at the end here. Beyond that, I think certain guys did grow into it. They did get better as the season came along. We got to say Lloris, of course, did a lot better as the season progressed. He was fine going through it. I think we were good there. Solid there. Chanot, up until that moment, he had found his way, that's for sure. Long had been there. Murillo, of course, getting healthy late. Limits there too. But yeah, we're at a real crossroads here, that's for sure, in terms of the roster. And of course, now that it's over, now that it's done, right, that is the part where you see the roster moves. And I will say the roster moves, I'll move over to that right now, they're tainted because of the draft coming up. I think people have to understand they're not bringing him back. They probably are bringing a lot of these guys back, but there's no reason to sign a player and then not protect them, right? Because you can't, right? Limitations are there, where it would be a lot cheaper and a lot easier just to be like, well, we're negotiating. Who's going to draft them if they don't even know what their status is? It's a very different situation. So that's, I think, why a lot of these faces aren't there. And there are some we heard are moving probably elsewhere or rumored to move elsewhere. So, yeah, let's talk about that. Who's left, who's leaving. So, again, they did announce that, 19 players were under contract. 5 player options were exercised. 6 were declined going forward. Palencia had his option exercised. Segura comes back. Lloris and Ochoa. Yeah, Ochoa got re-signed. So there you go. But then they declined Carlos Vela. They declined Kai Kamara. They declined Luis Muller. Tommy Musto. Marlon. Diego Rosales. Some old faces there, right? Vela out of contract again, but they say discussions. I think they say that to make people happy. Let's be honest. But yes. And then they also mentioned that Long, Murillo, Marlon, and Duenas are in talks to be retained. Again, I don't think they're in a big hurry until after the draft. Other faces, let's see. Edward Atuesta, he's gone, right? He's going back to his old club, Esportiva Palmeiras. Lewis O'Brien back to Forest unless something happens. I guess they're trying to get him, though. And then the interesting news that I saw that I'm like, do we get anything for this, was Bajun Darbo going to Bayern Munich. Did we get something for that? I have no clue. They just know that. We just know that he's gone. He's gone to Bayern Munich. So that's that. And I go over to you, Araceli. Obviously, everything is weighed by this draft coming up. Can you give me the info on the draft situation and roster calendar at this point? Kind of explain why we are where we are.
Bring this. Okay, I had to bring it back up. Sorry. The list of players that are eligible for selection will be released on the 10th, with the draft itself being the day after on the 11th. And looking at this, there will be 5 rounds with San Diego able to select up to 5 players from the eligible pool of players, claiming only a single player from any one club. And it just goes super deep into details. It sounds like they changed a few rules for this season, but that's the current situation right now.
And yeah, we can only lose 1. How many can we protect? Does it say? Or are they still figuring that part out?
I think they're still figuring that part out.
That's so weird, man.
I'm reading it.
That's a week out, man.
I think they can protect 12 players.
12, and we're only carrying 19 right now. So it seems pretty strategic.
Yeah, here it is. Sorry. Really? The 29 MLS clubs that competed during the 2024 season can protect 12 players from their senior and supplemental rosters.
Got it. Okay. So it kind of makes sense why it's light right now. Again, a lot of faces will come back, guys. I wouldn't panic yet. A lot won't, right? There's reasons for that. And of course, yeah, openings and movements and rumors. And we heard one big Griezmann rumor, right? That maybe he is coming in the offseason. That could get interesting. But yeah, that is where we're at right now. Real interesting situation. What direction we want to take. There are certain characters on that roster, though, that, yeah, we're stuck with them another year. We'll see what happens after that. And some that, what are they going to do? The magical mystery setup. You did hear also about the long rumor to Chicago. I wouldn't be shocked by that either. Bam, what are your thoughts about Long possibly moving on and going to Chicago?
I wouldn't be shocked to see that. Obviously, Chicago's doing a massive rebuild at the moment. So, look, as I say, this is just what I call a silly season. Not only is it because it's coming up to Christmas and all that, but a lot of movements, a lot of rumors, all that kind of stuff. Until there's a farewell post, part of a history post, that's all it is just rumors.
Yeah, the only guy that really got that was Atuesta, right? The other ones has been quiet, so I guess that's telling. Yeah, I know, guys. That is what it is. That's where we're at right now. I see a couple comments from you guys. I'm going to jump over there, get some reactions from you. Then we'll talk a little bit about community stuff and how this runs. So let's see what we've got here. Dave, he goes, boom. It's time to get talented, hungry youth. That's what I'm saying, man. I miss those exciting years. It's all great and all to have stars, but I'm tired of seeing over 30s, man. I want to see kids here. I want to see movement. I want to see hunger. We've had some good years with the young guys and a sprinkling of some veterans, but yeah, I'm with you. Gerardo Rios says, I love LAFC. I hope we find a way with Kai. Me too, man. That's the one guy I want to see back desperately. I'm with you, dude. He was so important for us this year. Really critical for this side. Also, Gerardo says Vela as a super sub. I have a funny feeling he's going to come back. I do as well. But again, they'll take their time on that one. Interesting. He goes, I think we re-signed Segura as a reading piece for GAM. I mean, yeah, he's under contract already, so we exercised the option on him. So he's draft eligible. We'll say that. That's something with that. Yeah, we'll see. And then, yeah, he also talked about Chicago. Yeah, that's where he's at on that one. Dave says, wish MLS rules were a bit easier to understand, but Johnny T knows his stuff. I mean, Johnny T has probably the hardest job in sports because dude, the dynamics of MLS and the way all the finances work and how you have to have certain pieces leave in, come in every year. And if you go deep in the season, then it costs you in bonuses. And it's usually on the back end that these things kick in. So it kind of hobbles your next year. So you could be planning for next year and then all of a sudden everything kicks in and a league rule changes. And so all of your planning gets thrown out of whack. And that's happened to us, especially after we've gone to finals. That's where you really get hit hard. You lose in a cup final, it can wreck you. It can wreck your organization. You need that win. That's for sure. Because you will lose faces. You will, even if you didn't get a cup. Gerardo Rios, we need players that are game deciders, someone that can change the match in a split second with a cutting pass or quick turn. The playmaker we've all dreamed of for how many years now, Tony? I swear it feels like 8.
I think like we had a game changer, but not a playmaker yet.
No, we need that. We need somebody in the midfield that, yes, can play defensive, but can also control a game, switch it, change speeds, do something special. You see that with Seattle. You definitely see that in Columbus. It works. It does. It's a thought. I'm with you, Gerardo, man. Good call. Good call. All right, those are the comments that we see so far. If you guys got more to add in, please add them in as we continue with the episode, because we will definitely get back to you guys one last time before wrapping this episode up. Other things I wanted to talk about, of course, was community news. I know, Tony, you've got more than a few things to share. What have you got for us, man? I know it's a busy calendar all of a sudden.
3252, of course, Van's collab is finally out. I think if you were able to get them, congratulations. I believe there's some works of something going on moving forward. Also, a the of course AIM is doing their Christmas drive. So if you are able to go to their Instagram and hit the link, it's able to do it through Amazon. So buy whatever you need for them, send it to them, and you can donate that way if you cannot make it in person. And I believe there's a couple Cuervos, I think, is collecting for their annual field workers drive, if I remember that. Let me give you the information. There's, like I said, there was a lot of stuff like that as I've been cocooning for a while. But yes, it was the Campesino help bring holiday cheer to the field workers in Oxnard. Donate small items, coffee tumblers, thermos, scarf, gloves, sets, curling irons, flat irons, hoodie sweaters, pack of socks, makeup sets, small tools, sun hats, and bandanas. So
I've done this road trip with the Cuervos before, out to Oxnard to deliver, and it's a humbling experience. That is for sure. If you can make it out, please do so. These are your farm workers. These are the people that supply you with the food that you eat. And they go out a whole lot. They sacrifice a whole lot. It is a difficult job. And it's a good opportunity to kind of see where things are, right? It's really important to do, especially this time of year. They need help. So good on the Cuervos for setting it up again this year. And yeah, definitely say head out if you can, because it's definitely worth it. They need the help. What else we got, Tony? Anything else community wise? That's
community-wise,
the measure.
that's the measure at the moment. We'll post more socials when things come and arise. But of course, Christmas time is our holiday season is here. So, spend time with your family, talk to anybody you can, just as a community, because it's going to be a long off season, maybe longer. We'll see. But just make sure you check up on everybody and, make sure everyone's okay.
That's critical. I mean, this is the holiday season. This is what you should be doing. It's about family. It's about friends at the end of the day. It's not the materialism. It's not the items. It's not Black Friday. It's not all that stuff. No, at the end of the day, yeah, it's looking out for each other. That's important. Good stuff, Tony. Well said, man. All right. The other thing we do, tradition, is, of course, the Vinyl Club Minute. I can think of a few funny ones on this one. Do we have any nominees? Anybody's been listening to something, having a good time with this one?
On the way home, I was listening to one of my favorite albums from a German techno dance group called Cosmic Gate. Listening to their 2001 album, Rhythm and Drums. And as the season's coming to an end for us and all that, one of my favorite songs on the album is Melt to the Ocean, because it always says nothing better than watching a great ball of fire melt to the ocean.
Nice. I mean, I could throw in Rammstein Edu, because that's just, it rocks, and it's like the end, right? Calling this season over. That's a good way to end things. Nice, fiery, and loud. So there's where my head's at right now. That's for sure. Tony, you got one?
Closing time, I guess, or Eagle Eye Cherries Save the Night.
Oh, man.
That's my vibe. I know there's like everyone's Spotify playlist of like what you listen to, but those have been my vibe for the last couple days.
I have a coworker that plays Closing Time probably every Friday, every week. I hear it right before leaving, and it's pretty hilarious. So, yeah. Aerosol, you got anything that on rotation? I mean, no, the Kendrick Lamar album's out there, and that's kind of cool. But what you got?
I feel like I'm the only one that's been listening to Wicked for the last couple of days.
That's big.
Yeah. If you haven't seen the movie, highly recommend it. It's so freaking good.
No.
There you go. I'm due up. I will definitely see that. I'd say, hey, there's something from 102, but I can't think of a single song that I can remember from that. So
What
It's
can
not
I
as good as
say
the last one.
except you're
That's for sure.
welcome?
Yeah, that's the last one though. The current one, whatever.
Don't care. So good.
But yeah, good stuff.
Moana 2,
Good
a lot
stuff.
better than the first one. That's my hot take.
Which one?
Moana 2, the new one, it's better than the first.
Oh, yeah, that's a hot take. I'm going the other way. So there you go. All right, so you got our songs. You see where our heads are. Thank goodness nobody brought up Mariah Carey, and I'll leave it at that. After that, not much else to talk about except getting ready for next year, moving on for next year. Seeing how things play out, we might be able to pull off one more episode, and then we take a long break until next year. Because honestly, we all need a proper reset. I think you guys do too after this interesting 2024. Yeah, so we might be on next week. We might be on vacation already. We'll keep you all posted, of course, as we do that. And yes, Bam.
I definitely won't be on next week because this time next week I'll be doing barefoot bowls, having some drinks because my work breakup. So definitely won't be on next week. Do we know when the next year's fixture will be released?
It changes every year because they keep changing how long the season is every year. So
They usually
see.
release it around the cup. So it could be a week after or 2 weeks after.
College showcase. I'm looking right now. Waivers, December. Oh boy. I mean, all I know is the super draft is on the 20th, and after that, it looks kind of dark. Yeah. We'll keep you guys posted. I think that's what we'll say at this point. Because yeah, I don't see anything about it yet. Again, with San Diego being in the mix, I think they mentioned their opening game will be against Carson. I think that's the one game we know about so far. So
yeah, so they're opening weekend is Feb 22nd and 23rd. They meant that because their first game is away to Carson. Then March 1st, their first home game is against St. Louis.
Interesting. So there we go. Again, lots of fun news with San Diego that we'll be paying attention to, and we might see one of our players over there, right? So we'll keep you posted on that. But otherwise, you know what happened. We'll check. I think there's one more comment I see, and then we're going to close this bad boy out for 2024 season and completely move into 2025 mode. All right, what do we got? Oh, Nandi, he says, and I like this, let's get it next year, LAFC. Let's go. That's right. We need angry LAFC. I'm with you, man. That's what we need. An edge, finally. Maybe that'll help us get to where we need to be in the coming year. All right. So what do we do? What do we do every year? What do we do every episode when we close this thing out? Yeah, that's right. It's our final thoughts. It's what we do best. I'm going to Araceli first. What are your final thoughts?
Final thoughts for me. I mean, honestly, I'm already planning for 2025, especially the day that all four of us will be together, which, of course, it's in the works. Can't say too much on that. But otherwise, I mean, with the holiday season coming up, if just in case we don't do a pod soon, wishing everyone happy holiday season, happy new year, and let's just get ready for next season because it'll be here sooner than we know.
It always sneaks up, doesn't it? Trust me, the guys that do flags and tifos and all that, it always sneaks up. Always. All right, I go to you, Bam, sir. What do you got to say for your final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Although our season's not over, we all know football's not over. For all you guys listening to this podcast, whether it's tomorrow morning, so Friday morning, something like that, if you do get a chance, 8 p.m. LA time, Friday, 6th of December, the A-League has the New Zealand derby. Auckland FC are hosting Wellington Phoenix. This is how petty and how great it is. Auckland are hosting. They have turned around and been able to extend their stadium so they can beat the record held by Wellington by 1 seat of how many of people attending.
As if the other guy's not going to bring in 2 lawn chairs to fix that, right?
But they're going to wait for the next game. But for the derby that Auckland's hosting, they've been able to open up an area that's just a grass for families and all that kind of stuff, so they can sell one more seat than the current record held by Wellington Phoenix for the most amount of people at a game in New Zealand. So get on that, watch that game. It will be a cracker. Auckland's first year. They're doing amazing. I am pretty sure they are top. They've played 5 games, won 5 games. So they're going great so far. Keep on that. Again, holiday season, all that kind of stuff. Although you are happy, not everyone around the world is happy. We got all stuff going on. It's weighing on people's minds and that kind of stuff. So mental health is major. Talk to your friends, talk to your families, reach out. Don't yell at the restaurant workers. Don't yell at people working retail. They're just doing their jobs. They're doing the best they can. I've done retail. I'm pretty sure everyone here has done retail. If you've never done retail, you'll not know what it's like. Just be kind. Just be nice. And be good to each other.
Well said, sir. Yeah, service workers, they're going through it this season. That's for sure. And it just seems to get worse every year. So think twice, act once. Deep breaths maybe would get you a lot farther in this life than snapping. So please do. Be respectful to everybody out there. It is the season, last time I checked. Tony, final thoughts, my friend.
Final thoughts is just, check on your loved ones, have fun with the holiday season, seeing family, seeing friends you haven't seen in a while, and, just take this time to get well rested and, get ready for the new year and the new season. And of course, when we come back, maybe next season we'll start talking about the new jersey. Something to look forward to.
That is happening, right? Away jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. New away kit. I wonder what color this one's going to be. We've gotten a little wild. So, yeah. Good stuff, Tony. Good thoughts, my friend. All right. My final thoughts to all of you. Number 1 is a big, giant thank you. Thank you for sticking with us so many seasons, 377 episodes, many hosts, many co-hosts, a lot of good faces here in the faithful that have been on with us, and there'll be more. You know how this operates. Goal is to be back again next year, right? I mean, that's always going to be the goal. We keep moving forward. Cast of characters, again, we'll do our best, guys. But yes, and of course, we always want to hear from you guys. That's what made this show what it is, to hear from you, to hear your voices, to hear your opinions. Because at the end of the day, are the heart of LAFC. It's not a celebrity. It's not a one-off player that comes for a year and a rental for a lot of jersey sales. No, it's always been and should always be you, the community that is the heart of LAFC, and that's what we always will fight for you guys. So on that note, I'll leave it at this. Have a happy holiday. Be there with your families. Be there with your friends. Be there for each other. We'll be back next year, guys. We'll get this done. And I have confidence we'll get better. It's what we do. This club, every time it has a bad moment, it bounces back, and I expect them to do it again this year. So on that note, our final word. Araceli?
Stay golden.
Bam.
Stay golden.
Tony?
Stay golden, Los Angeles.
And for me, to all of you, stay golden, Los Angeles.
Thank you for listening to the Heart of LAFC. Make sure to leave us a rating and review on iTunes or Stitcher. Shoulder to shoulder, the black and gold is taking over.